And there you have it. Ended up being a pretty much 2.5 weeks with a broken leg, which is pretty spectacular here. So we go ahead and load up our rotation back. I actually think I might need to activate Duran because, yeah, right now it's having OJ Forbes start. But we'll get Duran back here onto the squad. We'll swap those minutes, and then I'm pretty sure as long as I reload this, we should be good. And there you go, back right where we should be with our lineup. I was hoping one of these final games could have some intrigue to it, but unfortunately for us, we are pretty much locked into our spot here at number 9. I guess actually we have the tiebreaker over the Warriors, so if we win and they lose, that could put us into the 8th spot. So I was hoping we could get some drama here with the final game of the season, and it looks like we have it. It does require a Golden State loss. Is there any way maybe if I go into play here, we can get every other game simulated? I just want to know if we know whether or not a game is important, and that does not get the Warriors game to simulate. There is still some pressure here to win this game because, again, if we win and the Warriors lose, I think we overtake the 8th spot, which would give us a 1-game buffer here in the play-in tournament. So let's hop into the final game of the season against the New York Knicks. Final game of the season with the 8th seed potentially on the line if Golden State loses their final game. Josh Green is apparently on an absolute heater these last 5 games. If I'm being honest, I kind of want the 9th seed. That kind of sounds ridiculous, but having to win 2 games in a row just seems more fun to me with how good this team has played in Spotlight games. Of course, undefeated in year 3 in Spotlight games, which is a really impressive feat for this team. And so come the playoffs, that's going to be put to the test, and I guess it'll soon be put to the test. First be put to the test, I mean, here against the Knicks. But wouldn't be sad if that undefeated streak ends. Again, I think the 9th seed just makes a more interesting road. I also think the matchup against the 1 seed is more interesting than the 2 seed should we get through the play-in. And I certainly don't see this team, what a block there by Saramago. I don't see this team losing 2 in a row in the play-in tournament. So we're most certainly playoff bound if we make the 8th seed. And again, I'm voting for intrigue here, voting for the best content. Having to win 2 in a row is just a little bit more high pressure than having to not lose 2 in a row, if you know what I mean. But regardless, hard to root for a loss with this team, with how well we have played in Spotlight games, and we're off to an early lead here in our final game of the season. That little step back from Saramago almost always goes in, and it makes it 10-3 early in favor of the Blizzard. Handoff to DiVincenzo, forced out of bounds by Max Christie. Nice job staying strong defensively. Pick and roll here for Albert Ellis. Feeds it inside to Saramago, who gets the finish to go. The biggest reason we are undefeated in Spotlight games is that there are very few teams who match up well against Ayrton Saramago. And if you can't stop Saramago, you can't stop the Vancouver Blizzard. And that was a beautiful cut by Duran. Saramago hits him in stride and gets him an easy flush. Now Duran is isolated on Brunson, who is able to draw the foul there. I liked the ability to stay in front of him for the most part there. Just got to finish without fouling. Offensive rebound for Duran, and still no good with the second effort. Lonzo Forced to put up a tough shot late in the shot clock. Gets it to drop for him. Runs in, switched on by Saramago, and he does a nice job with the contest to force the miss. Vancouver the other way. Duran able to draw the foul. I've been really liking the high-paced play we play with here in year 3. Didn't really see kind of the 7 seconds or less shine through with this team in the first couple of years. We weren't really great at getting out in transition, and that one's thrown right to Julius Randle. This year, though, I feel like we make the most of our transition opportunities, and we go for them whenever we can. Here's another one here. Lonzo Ball puts up a quick 3, drills it from the wing. 20-12 for the Blizzard. Ivy from the top of the key drills the answer. Right back. There's a 5-point ball game once more. Saramago from the wing, driving and finishing with the lefts. Pretty solid defense there, but Saramago is just too strong. Mitchell from the mid-range, no good. Some nice defense there by Lonzo Ball. Now trying to set up Mago in the post. Backing him down, finishing with the left, but not quite accurate enough. Ivy takes another deep 3 this time. No good. Out of the post, Mago swings it over to Lonzo Ball. Gets a screen, pulls up off of it. No dice on that one. Ivy. He's been 3-point happy so far in the first quarter. It's another one there. Randle has a mismatch in the post against Lonzo. Swings it out. Ivy has another chance at 3. Probably his best shot yet, but can't get it to go. That's a nice play for Andre Hardy. Good screen set there on the cut. Bridges. Locked down by Mago in the post. Shot clock winding down. Needs to find something to do with it. And he gets stuffed by Saramago, his second block of the quarter. That'll lead Vancouver to the final shot here in the first. Maybe setting up something for Lonzo, but instead it'll be pick and roll. Saramago leaning 3. He's got it to go. Ayrton Saramago, the Brazilian beast, with an excellent finish. The block into the 3 to end the first quarter. It's a beautiful sequence there for our team's leader. Josh Green, transition 3. Here as the second quarter gets underway. Stolen there by Lonzo Ball. Does a nice job playing the passing lane. Leonard Miller kicks it to Josh Green. Remember, he's been 75% from 3 in his last 5 games, and he hits back-to-back here. He is on a roll heading into the playoffs, and that's a good thing to have. Some role players that are playing some great ball as we get to the most important games of the season. Leonard Miller, tough finish is no good. New York trying to get Bridges in the post, but McKnight does a nice job fighting around for the steal. Lonzo Ball gets it to go in transition. Mitchell on the drive, covered by Ball, finds a cutting Jaden Ivey, and that's a nice play by New York. Vancouver leads by 13 as Lonzo Ball's pulling up off the screen. 3-pointer, no good there. Maybe a little more high difficulty of a shot than we needed in that moment, but got it once again. McKnight with a nice catch and shoot opportunity. Can't make the most of it here. Davion Mitchell inside to Ingram, who's stuffed by Leonard Miller. Some nice highlight blocks so far in this game, more than I feel like we're used to seeing. McKnight gets a second chance from the wing, makes the most of it. Brunson back into this game, drills the jumper off the screen. Ellis also checked back into this game, gets a screen from McKnight, swings it out to him, and he rattles home another 3-ball. McKnight Some nice shooting here in the middle of the second quarter. Nice drive there by Brunson, able to get past Albert Ellis. With the isolation attempt, Lonzo takes a screen from the mid-range baseline. Gets himself a couple more points here on the evening. Murphy trying to go in the post against Lonzo, and he does eventually get the finish. Setting up another McKnight open shot. No good this time for Green Light McKnight. Brunson has a lot of Vancouver defenders around him, and they combine to force the miss. In transition, Leonard Miller has the mismatch against Brunson. Goes inside. No good on the finish. Grabs his rebound. Finds a wide open man. Albert Easy A. Ellis with the mid-range jumper. Brunson on the other end gets his answer. He's done a nice job. Matched up against Easy A here in this first half. Miller should have given himself a little extra time to set up nicely on that three. Josh Hart with the miss from beyond the arc as well. Miller to Duran inside for the flush in transition. Once again, Vancouver doing a nice job with their transition opportunities. Lonzo Ball with the steal. He's got it against Jaden Ivey. Out to Albert Ellis. That's a deep three attempt for him. A little too much on it. Step back from Jalen Brunson. That's a tough shot, and he missed it. Ellis setting up another McKnight three. This time it's bottoms for Green Light McKnight, and it's a 19-point first half lead as Jalen Brunson got the and one around several Vancouver defenders. Saramago finally back into the game here in the second quarter. He misses his first shot after checking back in. In transition, Julius Randle for three. Just like that, from 19 to 13 in the blink of an eye. Saramago, his second shot of the quarter. This time, the off the dribble three is good. Trying to find McKnight inside, and we do with the lefty finish. Randall going against Jalen Duran. Some strong defense there to force the miss. Albert Ellis pulls up for three behind the screen. Misses the shot. A solid look there for the rookie point guard. Randall going the other way with the foul. Easy A culprit there for the and one. Brunson, time winding down here in the second. Tough mid-range jumper there. Duran, pull up three to end the half. No, he didn't get it. That would have been pretty insane from Jalen Duran had he been able to drill that shot. Couple of Blizzard in double figures here at the half. Saramago and McKnight are 2-year 2 studs. Put in some nice work for us for this 15 points Blizzard lead. Jalen Brunson cuts into it here to start half number 2. Saramago from the mid-range, using the Jalen Duran screen to free himself up. Brunson, no good with some solid defense there on the contest. Duran, bad pass though. Gives it right back to New York. And then the foul on Randall. Not a great look for our boy Duran. Trying to make up for it here in the pick and roll, and he does. DiVincenzo swings it to Josh Hart. Has some space from three. Gets it to go, and it's down to 11. The Vancouver lead here as we run more pick and roll. Jalen Duran freed up again. And he's very good at making those pick and roll opportunities count. Nice defense by Ellis to force the Brunson miss. Now he has to do it again. This time Brunson uses some type of move to get by him. I don't know really how that one worked, but Brunson with the bucket. Speaking of buckets, it's been buckets all night for Green Light McKnight. It's one of his most efficient games so far in the spotlight we've seen all season. Albert Ellis looking to join in on the action from beyond the arc. Assist goes to Mago. Brunson against Ellis. Ellis has been tested all night on the defensive end, and he's certainly had some, times where he's gotten beat, but he's also held up fairly nicely on several occasions as well. That one's blocked away by Saramago on the three-point attempt by Josh Hart. This guy has been all over these New York Knicks shooters all night long. Some highlight level blocks, and if this is the kind of defense we're going to see going forward from Saramago, that's going to be incredibly helpful, as McKnight is absolutely filling himself with that pull-up transition three. We call him Green Knight here for a reason. Yeah, we're just going to pretend that Julius Randle dunk all over Jalen Duren didn't happen. Brunson, well contested by Lonzo Ball. Rebound goes to Mago. Mago with it here now on the offensive end. A strong drive. Gets himself an easy finish on the inside. Back to him here. A blow-by of Julius Randle. Back-to-back easy layups for Mago. Brunson swings to Bridges. Somehow got himself wide open. One of those screens that isn't a screen, so you can't really call it a moving screen, but Randle gets the double team, forced to pass out of it. Right back to Randle. But he missed on the solid three-point look in transition. Mago hop step into a jumper. And a nice finish. Vancouver leads by 16. Mago gets the Duren screen, feeds it inside to him, and he goes up with the left for the finish. Lonzo trying to feed Duren again. This time a little bit more contested, and he can't quite get the layup to go. Brunson going up and around Lonzo Ball here. Less than 2 minutes remain here in the third. 16 points is the Blizzard lead. Christie, a tough three-pointer, but it's right down the barrel. Ivy with it, defended by Christie here. Going on the inside, and then Ivy with the slam dunk. That kind of looks like those weird Albert Ellis dunks from last episode, where there's no way he had the momentum to actually jump that high based on that move. Looks a little cartoonish. It is what it is. Lonzo Ball with it. Takes the Saramago screen, fires off of it. No good. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be the end of the third quarter here, and it's an 18-point Vancouver lead. Looks like that undefeated streak, unless we have a disastrous quarter here, will hold, and that's a really good look to start the fourth, but Ellis could not find it there on his opening attempt. Ellis pulls up from the mid-range this time, and back-to-back misses for the young rook. He's had some really good performances so far, in the last couple of spotlight games. Hasn't quite been there in this game, at least volume-wise. His efficiency hasn't been bad by any means, but not a great start to the fourth quarter here. A couple of misses and a turnover. All that being said, though, New York has not been able to bite into this lead much. There's still 15 points here. Josh Green blocked away. I like the play there. Could not get the result we wanted. Ivy just sitting there for a couple seconds until he fired up a three, and now the New York Knicks are starting to come back a little bit here, down to a 12-point lead. Let's get Saramago and company back into the game, and it's the easy inside look. Good defense there to force the miss on Brunson. Duren inside to Saramago. Step back from the mid-range, and the elbow jumper falls for the Brazilian beast. Brunson, no good on that jumper. Duren running the other way, feeds it to Saramago. He's got a mismatch on the inside. Josh Hart just not big enough to defend. Ayrton Saramago once again on the inside. This time they do get the miss, but that massive dunk will make it a 20-point game, and that's going to pretty much be all she wrote here. Saramago would have his career high in both assists and blocks in this game. And I don't think I said it in the outro, so I want to say it here. I am currently planning to live stream the play-in tournaments on Veterans Day, Monday. I don't quite know the time yet, but hope to see you there. MVP of the 2027 season goes to Giannis. 28, 11, 5 with 3.5 stocks per game is, that's pretty solid. I can imagine a guy like Saramago having a stat line like that someday, and maybe he'll be in the MVP conversation sooner rather than later if we're lucky. Andre Hardy does not win Rookie of the Year, though he never really had the lead. This was kind of always expected. Dante Hardy, #1 pick. After 1 year, the Suns have to be happy with what they got from Hardy. 2 stocks a game, pretty much. And as he develops, I'm sure that efficiency will go up, and he'll be scoring 20 plus a game very soon. Nikola Topic, who is a real-life rookie for the Thunder this year, is your 6th man of the year. Back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years for Wembanyama. This might become even more automatic in the future than Luka MVPs for 2K, and it's hard to do better than Wemby defensively. Of course, there is that rookie that's incoming that might start challenging him before too long. Jet Howard is your most improved player. At one point, it was over 17 points per game, so he cooled off a little bit by the end of the year. And then Trae Young ends up being the clutch player of the year, playing for the Clippers. And Michael Stauffer here is your coach of the year. The Magic hired him. No wonder they started doing well. He's, of course, the glitched coach in this game. And the Thunder have the executive of the year. All NBA first team. We got Giannis. We've got Jokic. We've got Luka in his first year in Sacramento. Not quite as explosive stat-wise, but he did actually have his most efficient year, both from the field and from 3. Guess just didn't quite have the volume that he's had in Dallas. Wemby and Tyrese Halliburton, who has now averaged at least 10 assists a game for 5 straight seasons. All NBA second team, we've got Ja Morant. I mean, these are some nasty stats. 28, 7, and 8. Ooh. 33 points per game for Cade Cunningham this year is absolutely wild. And there is our boy in his second season, second team All-NBA for Ayrton Saramago. 25, 9, and 4 with 2 stocks a game on great efficiency. Earns him second team All-NBA honors. Anthony Edwards, 33, 6, and 4. And Trae Young was traded to Utah, signed with the Clippers in the offseason, and had his highest scoring season since that trade year. Really good stuff from Trae Young. And then All-NBA third team, we have SGA. We've got LaMelo Ball, Jason Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, and Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder. There are your All-NBA teams. Defensive team, Wemby, Giannis, Asar Thompson, Chet, and Bam, with Capella, Daniels, Davis, Sar, and Evan Mobley as your second team. All rookie first team, we have Albert Ellis on here. The first was Clifford the 4th pick. I can't remember, but either the first 4 picks or close to that here, all on this first team. And then Tommy Williams of the Warriors. I don't even remember this guy at all. So Good job by him. Jackson Mays is on your second team. Let's compare him to Albert Ellis. 8.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Shot under 20% from three, 41% from the field. Connor Wells, we know. I think he was the fourth pick or something. Andre Hardy makes the second team. Frank Kerr and Claude Madsen, a couple of Celtics, making the list here. And when it's all said and done, Vancouver would make the 8th seed. So the game 82 victory comes back to serve them, making it so that they'll have to lose 2 in a row to miss the playoffs this year. So unless they go 0 for 2, we're facing off against the Thunder here in the playoffs, our first playoff appearance of the series here in year 3. I'm excited to match up against Luka Doncic in this first game. Sabonis is injured. If it's not a major injury, I might reverse it just to make this game a little more fun. 2 to 4 weeks. That is I almost kind of want to undo these injuries just to make the game a little more fun. Maybe not the Murray one because this is like a season-ending injury, but the Sabonis one I am tempted to. You guys can let me know if that's something I should do just for making that game fun, or if we should, because Luka and a bunch of kind of nobodies probably going to be pretty easy for us to beat. But if you add Sabonis, it at least makes it a little bit more interesting. Duren did absolutely get the best of Sabonis the last time we played the Kings. If he got the best of Sabonis, he's definitely going to get the best of Charles Bassey as well. So you guys can let me know whether or not you think it's more fun for me to undo the injury for Sabonis heading into this game. But either we win this and we face OKC, or we lose, we face the winner of the Warriors or the Pelicans. But let's go ahead and take a look at the final player stats for our team. We've seen what Saramago has done. It ends up being another 21 point per game season for McKnight. So this is like pretty remarkably similar to what he had last year. Nothing is more than like 0.4 away than what he did last year in terms of his stats. He is just, as I've said before, more efficient with it. 5% higher on his three-pointer shots and 3% higher overall. Gotta love that. Albert Ellis ends up over 15 points a game and ends up 42% from the field. So he absolutely surged as the season went along, 3-point up to 32. So you love to see that. Ending strong in his rookie year. Hopefully that leads to some nice developments for the 6'2" point guard heading into his second season. Jalen Duren, 14, 11, 2 assists, about 1.6 turnovers as well, but shot over 60% for the first time with our squad. So you love to see that. 1.5 stocks a game for him. Lonzo, 12, 4, and 5 with 2 stocks a game. Ended up regressing a little bit from the 3-point line as the season went along, but I think it was up as high as 39 before. That's still perfectly fine. I think, a 5-star system match. This guy is kind of that backup guard, playing some 1 and some 2, has really worked out well for us. Max Christie here ends up with some pretty solid efficiency. Ends up 47%, which is his career high, with 40% from 3, which is his best since his rookie year when he didn't play much. So you gotta love what you saw from Max Christie here. Andre Hardy, field goal percentage just over 40% here at the end of the year, 27 from 3. Just can't quite get these backup centers to do much. He is, of course, just a 71 overall. He's playing up to a 73 with his morale, but hopefully we can get some good development from him in the offseason. We can finally get some at least solid efficiency from that backup center spot. Ends up 46% from 3 does Josh Green here by the end of the season, matching his field goal percentage. on 7 points per game, which is kind of the middle of what he's done in his 3 seasons for us so far. Minutes wise, it is towards what he did in his first season, but 46% from 3, yeah, that deserves a re-sign for sure. So I'm glad we were able to get him back on a pretty reasonable contract there, 7.5. Leonard Miller, at one point in the season, did have some pretty solid efficiency, but not really anymore. Where the heck are his stats? There we go. Ended up just below 42% from the field. Didn't end up re-signing him, and I think backup power forward, if we can find one that's a good fit, that's going to be something that I'll be looking for in this draft class. Maybe an upgrade over Leonard Miller. Maybe his time is coming to an end with our squad. And that's pretty much it in terms of the guys that we actually had playing for us. 8-0 or 7-0? Have we done 7 or 8 showcase games? I can't remember, but we're undefeated in showcase games and we're getting to the playoffs. So that's going to be put to the test. In the regular season, when we watched, they were excellent. Can that remain the case in the playoffs? Because the way we play when I watch could lead to a bit of a playoff run, but I don't think we're quite talented enough to make a really deep run. I think we can get to the playoffs for sure. But can we beat the Thunder? That's a really good basketball team. Let's go ahead and take a look. We made a trade with the Thunder to give them Isaiah Joe back. But they have the 6th man of the year. Cason Wallace is injured. I don't know for how long, but they have SGA, of course. Isaiah Joe is actually their starter at the 2, I think. Lou Dort's a little banged up, but they do have Jalen Williams and Chet. Probably should have traded one of these bigs for a forward, because their backup forward situation is actually really bad. But that means they probably have a lot of 2 center lineups, which is kind of scary. So, because 2K loves these 2 center lineups. Anyway, that's all I've got here for this episode. We got our first taste of the postseason with our Vancouver Blizzard coming up in the next episode. And until then, bring the Blizzard.